Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Try Something.Vegetarian. I'm Ulrich Hoffman. Today is the 19th of September 2019, and this is the broadcast Illegally Tortured for 10 Years, Scalar Waves, Not Microwaves, FIPA, Directed Energy Weapon Torture. FIPA is Frequency Independent Phased Array Antenna Through the Wall Radar. So I am going to talk about a number of subjects in this broadcast. Let's see if I had anything else open. Perhaps I'll cover 12 things you should know about scalar waves for a while as well. But I think that most of this broadcast I'll just be talking about the directed energy weapon torture attacks. The reason for my broadcast is that I've been attacked for 10 years, just about. It started in Amsterdam, and I think that I was living in the Bijlmer at that time. I don't really quite remember if this was also done when I was living in the Tweede van Svindestraat. But it was before I ever attempted to press charges of incitement to commit genocide or anything else against people with book quotes that want to reduce the global population, etc. So the reason for this broadcast is basically I was lying on my left side in my waterbed because I didn't sleep long enough. And then there is an AI, so one point I want to make is there's an AI, it's done with an AI, an artificial intelligence, according to control the position Fritz Springmeier, so-called supercomputers mark the beast, neural networks of Cray.com. And be prepared for their long-planned world war to reduce the global population to 500 million and impose their totalitarian global government. Some say it's obviously their plan with these false flag attacks. Nobody did anything about the false flag attacks. Putin didn't say anything about it either, for as far as I know. The fact that there was an eyewitness that saw the projectile and that there's a hole in these Gans oil tankers above the waterline. I've just seen one tanker, of course, and perhaps it's coming up also. That means they can do as many false flags as they have to create a world war, and that can also be done via people they control via the Muslim Brotherhood, the Houthi rebels, or Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda and others, ISIS of course. The dollar sign, I thought it used to have two stripes through the letter S basically, that used to be the dollar sign, but now on the keyboard and the emoji etc, that's just one stripe through the letter S. Is that another Mandela effect thing, basically, I wonder. Anyway. So, what should I break it down into? The directed energy weapon torture. There are several types. It is all part of smear campaigns. They have no-talk programming and suicide programming. And basically there are other things surrounding this, such as stalking. I don't know why there's a black image every time. In the previous picture show as well. stalking, controlling people in the environment of the targeted individuals, hybrid insect micro-electric mechanical systems of DARPA, remotely controlled insects, tyrannizing the subject into submission, and when they expose it online, then they do more of the types of torture that they talk about in their video, making most people leave out the most horrible types of torture probably, and usually trying to hide as much as possible that people have been tortured, that there are thousands of targeted individuals, and this directed energy weapon torture is an influence on all these supposed leaders as well, that are just puppet slaves of the AI that can torture and murder them remotely. Which they've also done to my mother. And if you've watched previous broadcasts, you know that I claim that I've been and I am being attacked with remotely controlled insects. Which I know because the Voice to Skull perpetrator let me know and showed me that he could control that centipede. I've caught several of them, so I know it's not a figment of my imagination, and it's the reason for my lethargy, that I'm extremely tired, my muscles are extremely weak, and probably I should get an EpiPen for $100. So thanks for helping remind me, yeah. But perhaps it's best to just die, you know. What I'm reluctant to talk about is these episodes that I've had. Episodes with diarrhea and vomiting simultaneously. So people without a bathtub have a serious problem when they have these centipedes, and lots of them have contacted me. I'm not going too much into the centipedes now. My point is it's part of a program, and that the doctors may also be extorted with the same technology, and there may be millions of doctors like Harold F. Shipman, who killed over 200 of his patients, serial killing doctors. And I hope they screen, they look at statistics that they have, and if there are doctors with crazy amounts of dead patients, that those are investigated further by the police or whoever is supposed to do that for protecting and serving the taxpayers. However, some people want to reduce the world's global population, and the killer vaccines have been used for this purpose many times, as we can see when we read the list of pandemics caused by vaccinations. So the graver, more severe dental torture and later the hybrid insect torture started under Bush. And they may do that to other Protestant Christians. The Jesuits and Masons are the only ones that control this technology. If the intelligence agencies are the only ones that have through-the-wall radar, the ability to remotely torture people and to alter the human brainwave as described in the Malech patent, the apparatus to remotely monitor and alter brainwaves. So it's not just monitoring every little thought you have. It may be scanning for certain names and words, like the echelon system for cancer cell phones. So they're not just spying on your emails and your cancer cell phones, they're actually reading your mind, they're doing mind control. And I call it brain control because I mind control. And at the moment I have a cold. I think that they did that as well. They've hurt my brain for a day. Extreme pain in my brain, basically. Annoying that that black picture is there. So they want to annihilate 7 billion people, and that's what it would look like for the rest of eternity. Totally black nothingness. Though we wouldn't see any black, we wouldn't perceive it. Like it's like sleep without dreams. And most of the period that we sleep, we have no dreams. Only near 5, 6 o'clock, when people almost wake up, they dream for like 5 minutes, and to them it's like they've dreamt all night, basically. So our bodies regenerate faster when we have no dreams. And for me, I have, since I've had these centipedes, dreams sporadically, perhaps 3 dreams in 8 years or so. And usually when I have dreams, they're precognitive visions of things that unfold later in my life, but I now think that that can also be part of their tyranny when they show me horrible things. When their goal is killing me, wouldn't that be exactly what they've shown me? No, I think that they are sort of trying to help. Oh wow, a mosquito in my tea. So I'm not gonna drink that anymore. And these may be remotely controlled in reality. Here you can see it on my spoon. There at the outer end, it's a little, or pretty big mosquito basically. Probably thirsty. But yeah, their macro, micro level through the wall radar makes it so that they can accurately torture people's teeth out of their mouth in post-energy predictal mode. They can control tiny insects, and they can clone disease patterns. 12 Things You Should Know About Scalar Weapons by Christy Rismo has more information about this. So let's kill the mosquito, because I think it was damaged already, and because it's a parasite, and perhaps we should kill parasites. I'm a vegetarian. It's open to debate, basically. And I'm gonna get some other tea, so I'll turn the picture show off when I get back. Should I turn on Tommy Robinson and T5G? Beautiful brain control or killer vaccines? Perhaps this one is better. It's easier to see when I get back than when I turn this off. Then people will see the difference clearly. So yeah, another reason, subconsciously maybe, that I think they're trying to murder me and that I'm almost dead. So that's another reason for me to broadcast this on YouTube. I'll be right back. I'm going to the kitchen, making my tea. So I got some juice. I will get tea later. Pineapple juice without orange juice. So there are many aspects of this that are quite interesting. So like I've explained, this technology is also used to silence people about a lot of things, synthetic telepathy and remote torture itself, stalking to control the human mind, also with hypnosis, and to create sex slaves and other slaves, killer slaves, Mercurian candidate type slaves that are programmed, usually with hypnosis, to do whatever it is the slave drivers want them to do. So many of them call themselves TIs, targeted individuals. Can also stand for training instructor, Department of Defense, threat intelligence, turn in, Terminal Island, California, taxable income, revenge for district court, tribunal d'instance or something. Technical intelligence, test interface, so they can also do other things to people, including more gallons. Timothy Trespass has made many videos about this subject. I don't know if I spelled it correctly. Also on Facebook and Twitter. let's see if I can find this channel on YouTube. I don't really want to look at archive.org. Also to see how it's going, of course. So I'm really being tortured to death. And it's like Kissinger said, the illegal we do immediately. The famous Kissinger quote. And I think he wasn't joking. And that population reduction is not seen as something illegal by these people that are doing it. So I think he may also be a real targeted individual, and some of them out there may be fake. Control the position to themselves, etc. Let's see. There's another one that I used to look at.
Synthetic telepathy.
I'm searching for one of his videos. So this is Timothy Trespass's channel. Last upload 1 month ago. And I think nowadays he's living on a boat. He used to live in New York. Don't know if he's still in New York. Keep the mic on. I see a lot of videos of Brian too, also. TEW. He may also have genuine videos. Oh yeah, 2GIF. We can watch a video of 2GIF. He had Obama's weapon. I don't know if he now has Trump's weapon. Obamasweapon.com. This was 6 years ago. 1.69k subscribers. So let's watch another targeted individual. I think he told a story about also, I don't know if he was mistreated in the hospital or something about some hospital. That's what I remember. Let's listen to his video, Synthetic Telepathy Ills, NSA Remote Neural Monitoring Electronic Brain Link. It's only 3 minutes 32 seconds. It's all done with scalar waves, not microwaves. Synthetic telepathy, well, that's basically reading your mind and altering your brainwave. NSA remote neural monitoring, that's the same thing. So they're not just monitoring but also altering people's brainwaves, and they can induce any emotion, love, hate, happiness, sadness, etc. And then there's electronic brain link, which is basically used to cover it up. And there was another idea they used to cover it up. Basically, often they start off with chip implants in people's brains, etc. And the idea that it's microwave harassment is also propelled the lie that it's microwave harassment, cancer cell phone radiation, not scalar waves, Tesla's plasma weapons and death ray, which is what they're really using, of course, the FIPA array in Poker Flat, Alaska. And HARP is a fake facility that's open every 6 years to the public. This is what I've read, and I've been studying this for 10 years because, of course, I want to catch the perpetrators and make the torture stop. And it's most likely Jesuits in control of the intelligence agencies, which are all Masonic according to Citizens Action Network. And I think that it's possible, or very likely, that only the intelligence agencies have this technology, the through-the-wall radar. Perhaps NSA is the only one that can decode the human brainwave to do synthetic telepathy. 40 years ahead of consumer technology. That's another thing I've read. So this is all theory, and as long as this is top secret technology and they can remotely torture and kill people, perhaps people that wanted to speak out are not living anymore. It's possible that they've already possibly killed, for example, Tim Russert, who interviewed John Kerry and Bush about their membership of Skull and Bones, the secret society, also known as the Brotherhood of Death, synonymous with the Jesuits, according to some. And well, the way to avoid this is to make sure that it can't be done anymore, that there's some independent body that oversees who they are torturing and what for. But instead we see an opposite trend. Trump has recently made it so that they don't have to report the number of casualties of drone attacks anymore. So next to the 190 killed protesters in Gaza, they don't really know how many people they're killing with drones. And another recent video that was interesting on Al Jazeera, that lady was interrupting him all the time. It was very annoying. But that was about the question if the drone attacks create more terrorists than they take away, or whatever. I can check the original title also. The Commission of Inquiry into State Capture continues. 1K watching. Well, that's not that interesting. Of course, Tommy Robinson is released. That's awesome. Tulsi Gabbard, Trump responds to Saudi oil strikes, a quote, disgrace, unquote. She also referred to supposedly Saudis involved in the WTC demolition, which they used to blame on the CIA operative Tim Osman, better known as Bin Laden. I don't know if he's a Saudi. I'd have to check it out, what their story is. So yeah, these false flag attacks on the Cancer oil tanker and oil facilities may have been done by terrorists that they finance and by American drones as an attempt to escalate the Iran situation. Also clear from Trump's quotes about taking the oil, take back the oil, etc. I can let you hear a short audio snippet.
You're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely, and you're going to have a deportation force. I'm going to create a third world war to build a temple in Jerusalem for my God, and to reduce the global population to 500 million. The government is criminal, okay? I'm Donald Trump. I own the Miss Universe pageant, and I'm here to answer your questions. Take back the oil. Once you go over and take back that oil, they have nothing.
But how do you take it
know,
back?
right? You have to go in. You have to go
With
in.
ground troops.
Well, you bomb the hell out of them, and then you encircle it, and then you go in, and you let Mobil go in, and you let our great oil companies go in.
Sure.
Once you take that oil, they have nothing left. ISIS is making a tremendous amount of money because they have certain oil camps, right? They have certain areas of oil that they took away. They have some in Syria, some in Iraq. I would bomb the out of them. I would just bomb those suckers. And that's right. I'd blow up the pipes. I'd blow up the I'd blow up every single inch. There would be nothing left. And you know what? You'll get Exxon to come in there in 2 months. You ever see these guys, how good they are, the great oil companies? They'll rebuild that sucker brand new. It'll be beautiful. And I'd ring it, and I'd take the oil. And I said, I'll take the oil. They have certain areas of oil that they took away. They have some in Syria, some in Iraq. I would bomb the out of them. That's how good they are, the great oil companies. They'll rebuild that sucker brand new. It'll be...
Well, I think that Putin wouldn't allow that, basically. He also made that clear. I can check the exact statement again. Everything takes time, of course. Everything we choose to do. Gaming can also take a lot of time. Okay, I did a YouTube video about it. Putin, Tehran in full compliance with its nuclear commitments, sanctions against Iran groundless. So that was his Reuters statement. That was his statement according to Reuters, and I covered the article also. And this, Putin said this. Oh, there's no date on this, but the video is on my channel, so then you can check the exact date as well. But it's just better to be prepared, you know, with a radiological water filter and storable food. Well, I hope they stop these legal death threats against Tommy Robinson and that they arrest these people making these threats. Perhaps you should record them or something. And it's illegal to make death threats in Europe against citizens, whether it's done by a Muslim, a Jew, Christian or an atheist, doesn't matter. And in the US they have no hate speech laws. It's interesting, and they have tasers. And there they can use these ninja stars that are illegal in the Netherlands, and butterfly knives. Okay, yeah, it's boring that I have the same picture show on all the time. We could also check what is live now, because people can check out everything about these scalar weapons online. We can read part of these 12 things you should know about scalar weapons by Christopher Rismo, Commander X. And this is a version on archive.org. I somewhere have the link to the original, and also you can save these documents and web pages as PDFs with the Opera web browser. And it's quite good. I also like Firefox nightly, but I try to avoid Chrome. Let's start reading this thing.
Build a free website of your OWN on Angelfire, MRI magnetic shielding, RF and steel shielding for MRI National MRI Shielding, Incorporated, www.mristina.cord. EMF protection crystal catalyst registered EMF devices are Fland made in Arizona.
So if all these troops in the Middle East are to bring and maintain the peace, why don't we have these troops in Europe then?
Use www.infblues.com RF shielding enclosures, full shielding systems and components for industrial application. www.nucoworldwide.com 50% off Dachvan products, excellent quality, lowest prices, satisfaction guaranteed. www.dachvanivina.com. Add choices. 12 things you should know about scalar weapons by Christ Verismo. Brace yourself for scalar weapon war that could occur, published in Commander X's Guide to Incredible Conspiracies. 1. A possible scalar war scenario. 2. How were scalar waves discovered? 3. A closer look at scalar waveforms. 4. How do scalar weapons work? 5. What can scalar weapons do? 6. Scalar beams against individuals. 7. Scalar mind control. 8. America's no-contact mass mind-controlling network. 9. Inducing diseases with scalar waves. 10. Tesla's technology was secretly continued by Russia and the Nazis. 11. Is there a secret war going in the skies? 12. WHO else is continuing Tesla's scalar technology. 1. A possible scalar war scenario. The following seems like science fiction, but scalar beam weapons were invented in 1904 by an American immigrant genius called Nikola Tesla, 1-856 or 57 1943, from Yugoslavia. Since he died in 1943, many nations have secret developed his beam weapons, which now further refined are so powerful that just by satellite one can make a nuclear-like dysfunction.
So the archive.org version is not alright, I'll have to find another version. But interesting in relation to this is perhaps Trump's uncle, John G. Trump. During 1942, Trump became secretary of the Microwave Committee. Blah blah. The US decided to send a team to Britain to help coordinate the efforts of the two allies. The unit was known as the British Branch of the Radiation Laboratory, BBRL, and operated as a department of Britain's Telecommunications Research Establishment, TRE, in Malvern in Worcestershire. or is it Worcestershire? In 1943, as the technical aide in Division 14 of the NDRC, Trump reviewed and analyzed the papers of Nikola Tesla when the inventor died in a New York City hotel. The research was completed on behalf of the Alien Property Custodian Office in Washington, D.C. From February 1944 to the end of the war in Europe, Trump was the director of the BBRL. So here's that text that it was reading, and apparently it's some kind of scan. They use this type of OCR to convert the text. Perhaps it was a screenshot, perhaps they made screenshots, and then they used these images, and then another program made text of it again, but that is weird as well. No, it must be somewhere else. Let's see if we can find it. Discovery of scalar waves, beam weapons of a century ago. The continuation of Tesla's scalar wave technology. Tesla's crossed scalar beams. Russia's woodpecker scalar wave transmitters. The 1930s, the 1940s. Nazis in Antarctica. UFOs being developed in secret all over. Are Nazis still being a threat to the world? Tesla involved in the Philadelphia experiment. The 1950s, 60s, 1970s. Well, I read that he had his Tesla plasma weapon, death ray, in 1900, where it superseded the first atomic tests by about 40 years, the Trinity tests. And since these Trinity nuclear tests, everybody has had chips of plutonium twinkling in their lung. There's also a Kate Bush song about it. And Kate Bush is vegetarian as well as Nikola Tesla. So you can hear they're messing with my speech. That's not the way I normally speak, of course. It's done by brainwave alteration and attacking my Broca's area above my left ear when I lie on my left side in my waterbed. So, disease induction. Perhaps it's best to start with it, since they are reducing global population with it.
Disease induction. Bearden says that scalar beams can also be used to induce diseases by mimicking disease patterns or signatures by recreating them on the scalar carriers. These are called quantum potential weapons. Especially designed biological effects can be used for attacking any population with various diseases, even multiple diseases together. He lists effects to induce instantaneous death, heart seizure, severe emotional disruption, loss of control of internal functions, diseases, disabling of the immune system, and even the implantation of thoughts, emotions, or ideas interpreted as a targeted subject as their own. There is also a suicide vibration which has been used to get rid of people, with no evidence. 10 Hz is the wavelength used by intelligence agencies to hypnotize, so mass hypnosis.
So they're not just using the T4 bacteriophage nanobot to selectively eat away memory, but also hybrid insects can be used for that purpose. Perhaps not the Morgellons can also be used for that. The Morgellons agrobacteria-based silicone thing.
Can be induced in a whole population with subliminal words added into their own language. This can be used for voting. Bearden says that almost any kind of cellular death and disease can be electromagnetically transmitted by scalar beams using ultraviolet to infrared frequencies. He writes that photons themselves can carry death and disease between cells. Scalar M technology allows the synthesis of the actual potential pattern of the biochemistry cells. This can be made to produce a particular cellular disease or death mechanism and even activate genetically latent diseases. Evidence has been found of manufactured symptoms and resultant cellular death, from nuclear radiation, chemical poisoning, bacterial infection, as well as symptoms of drug-induced hallucinations. Even the voice of God has been produced. To quote Bearden, Dr. Pop of West Germany has analyzed the virtual photon master control system of the cells. Scalar M represents the deliberate ordering of virtual particle flux into deterministic patterns, so the master control system can be readily entered with scalar techniques to induce disease and disorder at will. On the site there is more data. Scalar interference.
So everything has its own natural frequency, eigenfrequenz, mortal oscillatory rate frequency, Dr. Rife called it. And thus this technology, some call it electroherbalism, Rife plasma technology, is the cure of all diseases, because everything is energy, everything has its own frequency.
Grid weapons can be used to biologically attack entire populations in a targeted area. Suffice it to say that phase-locked DLF modulation signals of 10 Hz and less are often detected on multiple woodpecker frequencies simultaneously. In a target area, this modulation is sufficiently stronger than the Schumann resonance of the Earth's magnetic field, will entrain a percentage of the brains into forced entrainment. In that case, these human brains are synchronized to the woodpecker signals so that multiple coherent frequencies are phase-locked into them. That is, multiple coherent M channels directly into these entrained brains now exist. At that point, Fourier expansions may now be used to attack specific portions of the brain geometrically. The site says that scalar M disease patterns can be modulated upon the carriers, again with Fourier expansions, and specific biological effects can be induced in the entrained populations at will, by Russian technology. However, HARP can do the same. Effects are instantaneous death, heart seizure, severe emotional disruption, loss of control of internal functions, diseases, disabling of the immune system, and even implantation of thoughts, emotions, and ideas which are interpreted by the subjects as their own. Freedom Domain also said that woodpecker transmitters in thousands of experiments, a man called Kuznetov demonstrated that almost any kind of cellular death and disease pattern could be electromagnetically transmitted. Kuznetov reported the effect in the near-ultraviolet. Experimenters at the University of Marburg in West Germany duplicated the experiments in the infrared. Photons themselves can carry death and disease patterns between cells. Scalar M technology allows synthesis of the actual potential pattern, which represents total control of charge and charge distribution, of biochemistry in the cell, of a particular disease or death mechanism. Symptoms including cellular death from nuclear radiation, chemical poisoning, bacterial infection, and other mechanisms were induced by the Kuznetov quantum potential experiments. Dr. Pop of West Germany has analyzed the virtual photon master control system of the cells. As scalar M represents the deliberate ordering of virtual particle flux into deterministic patterns, the master control system can easily be entered with scalar techniques to induce disease and disorder at will. @trueyacht.wordpress.com. 14. Mind reading, mass hypnotism and synthetic telepathy. According to Bearden, in the late 1960s Lisitsyn reported that the Soviets had broken the genetic code of the human brain. It had 44 digits or less, and the brain employed 22 frequency bands across nearly the whole M spectrum, but only 11 of the frequency bands were independent. This work implies that, if 11 or more correct frequency channels can be phase-locked into the human brain, then it should be possible to drastically influence the thoughts, vision, physical functioning, emotions, and conscious state of the individual, even from a great distance. Up to 16 of the giant Soviet woodpecker carriers have been observed to carry a common, phase-locked 10 Hz modulation, and this has been demonstrated by Beck, Rauscher, Bies, and others to be able to physically entrain or phase lock the human brain, if stronger than the Schumann resonance of the Earth's magnetic field. A human brain entrained by a common, phase-lock 10 Hz modulation on 16 carrier frequencies would effectively have 16 frequency channels phase-locked into it. The potential for using the woodpecker transmitters to phase-lock an appreciable percentage of human brains in a targeted area, and then induce effects in the populace similar to and even more drastic than the effects induced in U.S. Embassy personnel in Moscow, should be strongly pointed out. Coupled with the Kosnekev work on transmission of cellular death and disease, using the woodpecker signals to induce death and disease in the targeted populace may also be a distinct possibility. Modification of DNA/RNA and viruses themselves is also a possibility. On the http://www.umph.net/site this was found, in the 1950s. ITT developed sensor technology that could literally display what a person was thinking. It was essentially a mind-reading machine. It operated on a principle of picking up the electromagnetic functions of human beings and translating those in an understandable form. It consisted of a chair in which a person could sit. Coils, which served as sensors, were placed around the chair. There were also 3 receivers, 6 channels and a Cray 1 computer which would display what was on a person's mind digitally or on a screen.